Tonight, part two of an I-Team investigation, CAL FIRE under pressure, searching for answers on what's being done to better control wildfires in the state of California. We have shown you preparations as fire crews race against drought conditions and a warming climate. Ty Karen is now taking a deeper dive into what firefighters face and the regulations that may be igniting more dangers than actually helping them out there. Karen.
That's right, John. It was phone call after phone call, email after email, even some off-the-record conversations. What I uncovered is many of those involved in wildfire fighting efforts, mostly the U.S. Forest Service, hesitant to give me their opinions on what's truly needed. From 8,500 feet above the valley floor, the story became clearer. We've seen it all before. The Esperanza fire in October of 2006. The arson fire starting near Cabazon, spreading quickly up the slopes of the San Jacinto Mountains. Burning over 41,000 acres, 5 firefighters died. Closer to the valley, the mountain fire in 2013, reaching within 2 miles of Palm Springs and threatening the wilderness and state park at the top of the tramway. Untouched nature, the Mount San Jacinto State Park and Wilderness, a vast area with diverse ecosystems, a variety of trails and outdoor activities. And this is where I caught up with longtime tram supervisor Tim Jones to talk about the threat of fire.
It's one of our biggest concerns. We are surrounded by wildland here, and this brush and the forest up on top. That forest up there, it's been years since it is burned. One statistic I heard is over 200 years for Long Valley and those surrounding areas.
So what's currently being done to protect it? In 2020, Governor Gavin Newsom entered an agreement with the federal government, a 5-year plan to get more funding to help in managing the 33 million acres of federal forestry lands. The U.S. Forest Service manages just over 19 million acres, or 58% of the land. Both parties committing to treat 500,000 acres each annually, totaling 1 million acres per year to reduce wildfire risks, restore watersheds, enhance biodiversity, and support climate goals, also including prescribed burns, mechanical thinning, and sustainable timber harvesting. Is that working?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely an improvement on what we had prior to 2020, but we absolutely need to do more work. This is something that we're already way behind on, and we need to continue pushing forward to make sure that our forest lands do get managed properly.
Assemblymember Greg Wallace worried after touring a Northern California forest and seeing how dense and overgrown it was.
And what that does is it really creates a tinderbox, and when we do have wildfires, any little ignition, any little spark, instead of keeping the fire on the forest floor as it historically has been done, because of the overgrowth and density, the fire gets up into the canopy of the trees and it becomes these massive wildfires that have been so devastating to California.
A tricky situation for those managing fire prevention on Mount San Jacinto because a number of different agencies are involved. How do you all work together?
We host a Wildland Fire Summit here, which is bringing all the agencies up to the top of the mountain.
A collaboration that has only strengthened since the 2013 mountain fire. Jones reminded me there is only one way in and one way out, and they take the safety of visitors and staff seriously.
We just finished a weed mitigation project with CAL FIRE. Their hand crews from Oak Glen came out and they scrubbed back the brush 6 feet off each side of the road to give us a little bit of a barrier.
Keeping a close eye is something rangers like Stephen James do on the daily. They're all around us. What are they?
So these are all Jeffrey pine trees.
Okay.
This is all original old growth forest. Nothing was ever culled or cut for lumber. So a lot of these trees are anywhere from 600 to pushing 900 years old.
The state park, 14,000 acres, impacted by drought conditions and ripe for fire.
Seem to be trending back to drought again. There is a lot of stuff that's very, very dry up here. We do have a lot of trees that are dead and still vertical.
As Ranger James and I walked through the state park, I asked about the dead trees and how they could be a detriment to fire prevention. He's careful with his words, again reiterating to me he doesn't make those decisions, but he did say,
if you look further up, you might be able to see there's a bunch of holes in it, so that's actually habitat for woodpeckers and some of the other birds. So some people might be like, why aren't you just cutting down all of the dead trees? And that's why, because it is still habitat for the natural environment.
Well-intended state and federal legislation, the Assemblyman says, has gone too far. More tough questions.
Yeah, it's not just fire, it's air quality. And
Yeah.
air quality affects us hardcore here. It's a problem we already have.
You talk about the carbon emissions that go into the air from that. I mean, it's more than every car on the road in California combined. So we need to be able to look at this from an environmental perspective as well as a public safety perspective.
And when we talk about the Coachella Valley and how a wildfire like that could affect us, we can look over the mountains here from your office and look towards Idlewild or the Tramway. Is it a threat to us here?
You know, I think it's probably a lesser threat here than it is in other parts of the state, but absolutely. I mean, I don't think that people living in Pacific Palisades thought that they were in a high wildfire risk area either. So, you know, if we don't manage our forest lands up here in the surrounding mountain communities, whether that's Idlewild, San Bernardino National Forest, it's something that could absolutely have a negative impact on our local community.
And while the fire agencies are working together, the U.S. Forest Service is facing significant workforce reductions, this impacting park rangers to wildfire prevention workers. I will, of course, keep an eye on updates on this situation. To see part one of my story, CAL FIRE Under Pressure, head to our website, kesq.com.